North Korean leader Kim Jong-un promised a beautiful life for the families of the martyrs who perished fighting for the Russia in the war against Ukraine, the state media told on the Saturday, praising the bereaved for the heroism of their sons and the husbands. Kim on the Friday hosted the families of the soldiers and expressed grief at having failed to save the precious lives of the fallen men who sacrificed their lives to defend the country's honor, the KCNA state news agency reported. The heroic feats of the soldiers and officers were possible because of the strength and the courage given to them by the families who are the most tenacious, patriotic and just people in the world. This is what Kim told the parents, the wives and the children of the bereaved. Also, they have had not written a single short letter to anyone, but I do think that they must have entrusted their families, including their beloved children, to me, the Kim who has quoted saying. Also, the country will provide you with a beautiful life in the country, defended at the cost of the lives of the martyrs, he said. North Korea state television also showed Kim bowing deeply to the family members who appeared overcome with emotion at the event. The meeting was the latest, also honoring of the troops who suffered heavy casualties in the Russia's Kursk region that borders Ukraine after Kim and the Russian President Vladimir Putin acknowledged the deployment in April after months of silence. The state television on Saturday aired a 25-minute documentary that included footage of the soldiers purportedly taking part in the Operation Kursk Liberation to drive the Ukrainian troops from the Russian region bordering the Ukraine. Millennium could not independently verify the authenticity of the footage showing the North Korean troops engaged in the battles. The film said that Kim made the decision to deploy troops to the Russia late August, revealing for the first time that the move was made 2 months after he and Putin signed a security treaty that included a mutual defense pact. Kim is due to join the Putin in the China at a military parade, also marking the surrender of the Japan in the World War. It will be their third meeting in 2 years as they dramatically elevated a military alliance. The two countries have not publicly disclosed the scale of the deployment or the casualties suffered by the North Korean troops. About 600 have been killed out of the total deployment of the 15,000, according to South Korea's intelligence agency. Also, there have been estimates by the Western intelligence of more than 6,000 casualties. In the recent year, the North Korea have forged closer ties with the Russia amid the Moscow's grinding war against Ukraine, complicating the Eastern Asia's geopolitical balance and China's efforts to maintain the regional stability. Now bringing you latest updates on today's market trends. Global equity markets suffered steep losses today with the major indices across the North and the South America experiencing a broad-based sell-off amid the heightened investor anxiety. In the United States, the Dow Jones Industrial Average plummeted 2,231 points or 5.50%, closing at 38,314.86, while the S&P 500 dropped 5.97 to reach 5,000, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq also tumbled 5.82% to reach 15,500. Also, these sharp declines reflect growing concern over the combination of the factors including the inflationary pressures, interest rate uncertainty and potential earning disappointments. The Russell 2000, which tracks the smaller cap companies, was also hit hard, falling to 4.37% to reach 1100. In the stark contrast, the CBOE, the volatility index, that is the VIX, often referred to the fear gauge, as also being surging 50.93 to reach 45.31, its highest spike in months. Also signaling a dramatic increase in the market volatility, the risk aversion, the investor appear to be rapidly shifting out of the equity and also into the safer assets or hedging their portfolios in anticipation for the further turbulence. Also, the sell-off extended beyond the United States border. The Canadian market were also deeply in the red, with the S&P TSX, also the composite index, falling to 4.69% and the S&P TSX 60 down to 4.44%, reflecting a widespread retreat from the risk across the sector, including the energy, finance and the materials. The Latin America market also faced significant pressure. The Brazil Bovespa index sank nearly 2.96%, longing of the 3,800 points, while the Chile's S&P IPSA and the Mexico's S&P BMV IPC dropped 2.79% and 8.87% respectively. Today's market action underscores rising unease among investors who are grappling with the tightening of the fiscal conditions, geopolitical tensions and the general loss of confidence in the near-term economic stability. Also, with the VIX sharply rising and the key global indices shedding billions in the market value, sentiments have clearly shifted into the defensive mode. The coming days will be critical in determining whether this is a short-term correction or the start of the deeper, more prolonged downturn. Commodity market reflected a day of divergence with a significant movement observed across energy, metal and agricultural sectors. Energy commodities faced strong headwinds leading to the day's losses. WTI crude oil also declined by 2.15% to settle at $60.66, while the Brent crude oil dropped 2.21% to reach $64.13. These declines come amid persistent concern about showing the global economic activity, reduced fuel demand and the increasing inventories in the major consuming nations. Also, additionally, the geopolitical tensions and the uncertainty surrounding the OPEC Plus production strategies continue to weigh heavily on the investor sentiment in the energy space. Natural gas followed suit, slipping 1.64% to reach $3.7. Though still with a relatively stable range, it remains vulnerable to seasonal demand shift and fluctuating storage data. In contrast, the metal segment painted a more optimistic picture. Gold advanced 1.10% to reach $3,068, maintaining its strong position near the upper end of the 52-week range. Investors appeared to be rotating into the safe haven asset amid the mounting concern over the inflationary pressures, currency volatility and the broader macroeconomic instability. Silver posted the strongest gain of the day among the tracked economies, that is jumping 4.57% to reach $30. The sharp rise may reflect increased industrial demand as well as renewed interest from the investors seeking diversification away from equity and fiat currencies. Agricultural commodities also showed resilience, with the soya bean inching up 1.07% to reach $9. The modest rise suggests continued global demand and potential supply constraint due to the weather-related disruption in the key growing regions. The commodity is hovering close to the higher end of its 52-week range, indicating relative strength in the agricultural sector. Overall, today's performance illustrates a clear contrast between the declining energy prices and the upward momentum seen in the metal and the agricultural sector. Market participants appear to be repositioning their portfolios in the anticipation of the economic shift, possibly favoring the hard assets and the essential over the cyclical commodities tied closely to growth and consumption. As volatility continues to define market dynamic, commodities will likely remain the focal point of the both hedging strategies and speculative plays in the day ahead. Now let's look at some sports highlights. Indian cricketers, including the Test skipper Shubman Gill and the ODI captain, that is Rohit Sharma, have cleared the pre-season fitness test, which was conducted at the BCCI Centre of Excellence in the Bengaluru. Shubman Gill, who travelled to the UAE, also soon for the Asia Cup starting on the September 9, and his teammate, that is Jasprit Bumrah and Jitesh Sharma too, have passed the fitness parameters. The 25-year-old Punjab batter was named India's vice captain for the T20 tournament. A fitness test becomes mandatory for the Shubman Gill as he had to pull out of the Duleep Trophy, where he was named the North Zone captain because of a fever and was resting at his hometown for the last few days. Also, PTI understands that other players who went through the test at the COE, that is the Center of Excellence, without any alarm were the Mohammad Siraj, the Yashasvi, the Jaiswal, Washington Sundar and the Shardul Thakur. Apart from the now standard yo-yo test, a DXA scan, which is the simplified method to test the bone density, was also done during the fitness test. Both the Jaiswal and Washington Sundar are in the standby list for the Continental Showpiece, where also the Thakur that will remain in the city to lead the West Zone in the Duleep Trophy semi-final against the Central Zone for September 4. While the Rohit does not have any immediate assignments after his retirement from the Test and the T20 formats, the senior batter could travel to Australia for an ODI series in November, and prior to that he may also appear for the India A against Australia A in a 3-1-day match. Also, others members of the Asia Cup squad such as Arshdeep Singh, Riyan Parag, etc. have played in the Trophy quarterfinals for their respective zonal times. Full time was approaching at the Anfield, and it was clear something special was needed to separate the Liverpool and the Arsenal as they slugged out an early season heavyweight contest in the Premier League on the Sunday. Enter Dominic also with a long-range free kick that flew in off the post in the 83rd minute. The Szoboszlai also earned the Liverpool a hard-fought 1-0 win over the opponent likely to be the biggest challenger to its title. The game needed a moment of magic for either team to win it, the Liverpool manager, that is Arne Slot, also said, and it was the Dominic who did this. Many thought the Manchester City would be back in the title race this season, but perhaps not. Collapsing to a 2-1 loss at the Brighton for a second straight loss was another sign that the Pep Guardiola's once dominant team has lost its aura. This is the reality. We are not at the level from the long time, the City midfielder Rodri said. Also, Szoboszlai is popular among the Liverpool fans for his work ethic and versatility, and the hungry midfielder was filling in the right back of the place and the position of the now departed Trent Alexander-Arnold because of the injuries to the Conor Bradley and the Jeremy. Also, he did his best with the impression of the Alexander-Arnold with the top quality dead ball strike that was out of keeping with the rest of the game. Until now, Trent was taking them, he said of his former teammate who also now plays for the Real Madrid. Now I could finally take one. It secured a third straight win for the Liverpool, with the defending champions the only team on the maximum 9 points after the 3 rounds of the Premier League. They've already beaten 2 tough rivals in the Newcastle and the Arsenal too. As for Arsenal, it was the first loss this season, extending its winless record at the Anfield dating back to 2012. Also, that was without the centre back William Saliba from the 5th minute at the Anfield because of the leg injury. That's all for now. Thank you for tuning in. Stay with us for more updates. Log in to stay updated with the latest news on our social media platforms, that is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Millennium News 24. Also, don't forget to check out our YouTube channel Millennium News 24. You can also watch us on Android and iOS devices as well as on Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV and all smart TV platforms. Also enjoy entertainment and latest news with us. Download the Millennium TV apps newly launched, that is Millennium TV USA for Android and Millennium News on Google as well as Millennium News 24 India. Thank you for being part of Millennium News Channel 24.